to say, oh, the governor was like a daisy cool by not presenting that budget to the State House of Assembly. It was because of political conflict. So for me, the governor should be given sufficient time. Perhaps the State Assembly as at then were not incorporated into that budget. The governor may need time to incorporate the State Assembly budget into the system to allow a seamless presentation to the State House of Assembly. So I feel that the State House of Assembly, and I know that they are ranking members of the state, but however, issuing an ultimatum of 48 hours is not in the best interest of the state and could further aggravate the political tension state. Of course, praying that both political components that this matter time come back to the round table, maybe by way of seeking or protecting the interests of the state, look at for means of ensuring that is a political resolution to the political conflict in the state.
All right. I think
that order to me is of no moment.
All right. The next question I'll be asking you is I had a conversation with the Commissioner for Information yesterday, and we're also aware that in court there is still the case trying to certify whether or not the lawmakers defected. So the question now is how that case turns out. How would that case affect what we have now?
Now, the Supreme Court is a court. It's not just a court of law. Supreme Court is a court of law, equity, and public policy. Supreme Court does not just make orders and expect those orders not to be obeyed. They set the ruling, watching the person to whom that order is directed. You see, let me say this. The day the judgment, the 28th day of February, the judgment of this local government and the passive restoration of the State of Assembly was made. Recall that there was an adoption of appellate processes filed at the Supreme Court, touching on the member of the State of Assembly, which the Supreme Court as of today is to determine. I will not go on the path of compulsion. I will not go on the path of. I will go on the path because the Supreme Court has, for me, they are watching. They know which of the parties is capable of instigating the state into conflict.
All right, so Mr. Choko, hold your thoughts. Just hold your thoughts on this one there. Let's take a short commercial. You continue when we return.
Info.
Here on Nigeria Info. I'm still speaking with the legal practitioner, Chioma, Choko, and we have here in the studio with us the President General of GDI, Mr. Now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Before I come to my guest in the studio, I'll just allow you to finish on your thoughts. Before you comment, let me remind those who are online, you can drop your comments on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Again, at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the handle. So do well to join in and drop your comments and let us know what you think. How can the relationship between the legislature and the legislative arm and the executive arm work for Rivers people? Will that happen? Let us know what your thoughts are. Mr. Choko, so you're trying to explain. I said, well, you've dealt with the first question, and I was asking, we also know that there's a case in court trying to determine the legality of the lawmakers in the House at the moment, whether they still should retain their seats. How would that affect the whole situation?
Well, you know that as a lawyer or as a counsel, there is one thing I may not be. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. As a lawyer or a counsel, there is one thing that I may not attempt to do. That is to preempt the decision of the Supreme Court. But just like I did say before, I had in my wish that it would not have been in the interest of the State Assembly to begin as at the affecting commands or portion of the State Assembly. Just like I said before, Supreme Court has the ruling for both the State Assembly and the executive arm. They are watching. The Supreme Court is not a court of law. The court of public and must consider or take events and circumstances that will play out with the period decision is given. We need to say there is
Mr. Choko, I don't know what the issue is, but it's there's some kind of holdback around the environment you're in, whether it's the service provider or it's your device. I wouldn't tell which, but
can you hear me better, sir?
We can hear you, but then it's not very clear because there's some sort of holdback at the end of it.
I'm sorry. I apologize. To beg the State House of Assembly to present budget bills, that is a cause or a condition precedent for which the state application is sent up tomatoes on the there is yet a matter that is pending before February when the decision of the for me, decision long way to determine the authenticity or otherwise of the 27 House of Assembly members. But I know and I understand that the Supreme Court did the judgment in passing, but I may not want to delve into that for now.
Okay.
I want to be to the State House of Assembly. And if possible, we need it for the 8 hours ultimatum because it makes no sense in the business of legislation.
Okay, let's come to my guest in the studio, Mr. Amaewhule. For the 8 hour ultimatum, the Supreme Court judgment. What's your reaction to it? What's your take? Because I mean, there are those that have said constitutionally you are not saddled with the responsibility of giving the governor a time frame when the Constitution even doesn't provide for that. So why that approach? And for some people, it feels like, you're trying to already attack the executive arm just now. Is that what's your perception? What do you make of it?
Well, in as much as I'm concerned, I know that the Rivers State Assembly under Martin's Right Honorable Martin Amaewhule is not giving any ultimatum to the governor as to say that either they want to encroach upon the governor's powers as the executive governor of the state. But what they're also doing is based on the governor's past antecedents, in the way of not wanting to present budget to this Rivers State Assembly. And then for the fact again that the Supreme Court has given a judgment to say that, look, if you fail to represent even the 2024 budget, and there is no also budget for 2025.
And that's what many people expected the House to start with because they had gone to court for the 2024 budget.
The House shouldn't even be bothered again about that because the Supreme Court has already ordered the governor to represent. So it's for the governor now to obey the judgment of the Supreme Court and just represent the 2024 budget. Now, why they are also asking for 2025 budgets on time is to avoid a situation where there won't be monies to pay the salaries of workers at the local government level, at the state level, and even to pay contractors who the government
have engaged. But the state allocation had been paused.
Yes, had been paused. So now, because if you don't also ginger the governor I want to use, I will ginger the governor to present this budget on time. The governor may want to delay the presentation of the judgment, and like what you sometimes I see people are already crying foul over the judgment to say why withholding the money for Rivers people. No, so the Rivers of Assembly is not fighting the governor. What they are doing is for the interest of the people. Those particularly, I think those who have already been crying before now should show more concern, and then even appreciate the Rivers Assembly for taking the bold step, so that by this month, because let's say, for example, the application for February is supposed to come maybe any moment from now, so that people could receive their salaries. And because there is a hindrance to that effect, the people have said within 48 hours, because they also want to embark on a recess. And if they embark on a recess and they don't come back, like they said, 90 days, it means that within the next 90 daes, the governor may not have the opportunity of presenting the budget. 90 days, is about 3 months. And that will also have a negative impact on the successful administration of this present governance under the government. So
is it if I'd like you to explain this better. You're saying this is the move that they are making is for the interest of Rivers people. Hence why they're asking the governor to present the budget. Because
already the governor was to present the same budget to the illegal House of Assembly that was operating under him in 2024. And those who were calling him to order to say, you have not resolved the issue of 2024, which the appeal court as at then had ordered you to represent this budget to the assembly led by Amaewhule. You didn't do that. You now start preparing for 2025. So the budget already should be there, because I've heard the man who is on the other side saying that there is time, the governor need to be given time to prepare the budget and all that. Why the governor has already prepared the budget since 2024 ahead of 2025. So the document is already there and stable.
He also made a point. Is it not possible that the budget that was presented did not captivate the budget of the House as it is now, as against what it was before, and that might need to be factored in?
No, if factoring in does not take anything, the documents already are just a matter of making corrections, assuming, not considering that maybe there are some corrections he wants to do before presenting to the assembly. Because even if he does any correction on his own and sends it to the assembly will also need to also make their own input into it before the passage.
But is the assembly aware that there are constitutional provisions as to how a budget is set up and presented?
This is not the first. These people, even the present assembly members now, some of them have been there like for 3 tenors. So they're already aware. They know how budgets are being prepared and then presented. But what we are saying is that the governor don't need to cry foul at all that they're asking him for 8 hours. This is a document you said you have already prepared since 2024, and we are about presenting it to an illegal constituted assembly that was working for you as at then.
So hence the
ultimatum is within the time frame for him to even present it, because the documents are already there.
Just to say, Mr. Choko, I'm sure you can hear us, because there are those that are saying...
I have a disagreement, a little disagreement.
Okay.
There. And one of my, all due respect to my dear brother and friend, one of my disagreements is that there are a lot of factors to be, which is why I feel the 48-hour ultimatum may not stay true. Reasons being that the budget was actually prepared and presented by the executive governor, then as led by Oko Jumbo. What we had then, I think, was about 3 or 4 members of the state assembly, which ordinarily, if the governor had put in anything with respect to the state legislature, state house of assembly, only 4 persons could have been captured in that state budgeting. Now, we have 27 more in addition to 4, which are still legitimate members of the state house of assembly, because it is not enough to say, because the Supreme Court has said return to the status quo, return to Martin, right from Martin Amaewhule, the person should be chased out. So these 4 persons will equally be incorporated into the budget, assuming the budget as at the time presented to Oko Jumbo had 100 pages. And then you have to increase it, even if you have to alter it by 1 page. By that alteration, the entire 100 pages will have been altered. So what is that you're going for, but within a government? So all these things have to be factored into before presenting the budget. So the state house of assembly, you have to increase, because the numbers of the house of assembly members have equally increased.
All right.
You have to also go back and reprint. So
Mr.
Amaewhule, can it be done within 48 hours?
Okay, Mr. Amaewhule, before we open the phone lines, do you see the legislative arm, the assembly, now working with the executive? Because for so many, the picture being painted is going to be one that would be a battle between both arms, and Rivers people suffer at the end of the day. In fact, we're even hearing Labour talking about a possible protest because if they are not paid their salaries, they shouldn't be going to work, citing labor laws on one hand. And many would think that with all of this, if Rivers people are the number one interest, then the approach would be different from what people are perceiving. What do you think?
See, first of all, what the other of my colleague too, has failed to understand is that that existence of Okojumbo Assembly, in the eyes of the law, was never there. It never existed. If he had gone to Supreme Court, he even said that maybe in passing the Supreme Court may have touched on the issue of legality of the assembly. Nothing like in passing. The Supreme Court said the only acceptable assembly of Rivers State government or Rivers State is the one led by Right Honorable Martin Amaewhule. The other ones never existed at all. And that was even what led to say that all the actions taken by the Okojumbo-led illegal assembly, all the actions taken were nullified by the judgment of the Supreme Court.
So you don't think that perhaps with this case still in court with regards to the defection situation,
no.
You don't think that could in any way affect anything?
See, they are saying that so to deceive their followers. When they went to, that should be on the 17th, if I'm not making mistake, rather, when they went to court, the Federal High Court now said, look, we are adjourning this matter till April, pending the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment. What that, by simple understanding, is that whatever the Supreme Court decides will now be a guide to what will happen at the Federal High Court. And the Supreme Court's decision is above the Federal High Court. So what the Supreme Court has said is that this matter before Federal High Court is already dead. Okay. It's natural. Is dead. The judge dead.
Just hold on. Yeah, give us your opinion. You heard him. What's your response?
Yes. As much as I appreciate the wisdom of my dearest brother, I think that is a misconception. That is a little misunderstanding. I am not looking at the matter which was filed by the Federal High Court that is pending, filed by the Labour Party and other persons that is pending at the Federal High Court of Port Harcourt. I am talking about an appeal that was entered on the 28th February, the same day judgment was at the Supreme Court. And that judgment, the Supreme Court said they were going to communicate parties as to the day. So it is not about the Federal High Court.
Hello, Mr. Choko, can you take that again? You said you're talking about an appeal that was filed February 28th?
An appeal that is, I am not talking about the appeal that is pending at the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, that was filed by Labour Party and other persons. The appeal I'm talking about is the one that is pending the Supreme Court, which was equally adopted that appeal, because it was still on the same day. But the Supreme Court said they were going to communicate parties to the judgment. So for me, I feel that all the parties should keep their gunpowder dry until the determination of that suit.
Okay.
There were never such appeal before the Supreme Court, except
what was the appeal about?
The appeal is solely on the defection of 27 members of assembly. I will screenshot it to the online and send it.
All right, please do.
Punch in newspaper. I will send it now.
Okay.
See, you would have as well gone to, like the way, like I keep on saying that they are just trying to deceive their followers. The Supreme Court at to a point said that you're holding the flag of Ghana. Does it mean that you're a Ghanaian citizen? So, because these are the points they have been trying to prove. They said the people were holding a flag of APC and all that. That made them.
No, it was beyond the flag.
No evidence. Let me tell you, Andrew. No evidence. I'm telling you, the people keep on deceiving the people. They could not afford any evidence at all. Even the APC you're talking about, the APC has come out to say in the court to say we don't know these people, they are not. Speaker of the Assembly and the other 26 members, and also for him, but also remember that before now, the Okojumbo and the two others have already been suspended, including the President Chief of Staff. They have already been suspended as members of the Assembly, not to have attended the proceedings of the Assembly for over a period of time. So, in all the actions taken by Martin Amaewhule and his other Assembly members before this time, Supreme Court appreciated them and said these are the authentic decisions being taken by the Rivers Assembly, not any action at all taken by Okojumbo and his group. As it stands today, Okojumbo and his group cannot go to that assembly. They can't go to that assembly, and
they're still members of the assembly.
No, they are under suspension. Not
all of them.
I know the three of them are under suspension. I'm telling you, those of them are under suspension. Now you want to talk about you want to prepare a budget to incorporate this other 26 members or 27 members to the one done for 3 members. Are we talking about 3 members? We're talking about River State. River State is not about individuals.
That would mean that the governor would need more time.
No.
We are going to go by your illustration.
No, it's not the interest.
It means those
it's not the interest. It's not the interest of the assembly members. The governor ought to have considered the interest of River State before proposing the budget for 2025. Not the interest of
the assembly members represent Rivers people. Don't they represent constituencies?
No, the president. What I'm saying, he was talking about preparing to incorporate maybe these 27 other persons. No, it's not about individuals.
Let's take a few calls first. I know you want to get your response. If we go back and forth with my exhausted time, 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007, and 0817-923-0002. On WhatsApp, it is 0809-030-6416, and it's been plenty of reactions already. Someone says, I'm praying to God to deliver us from the hands of these individuals whose only interest is to mortgage the destinies of Rivers people. Good luck sending that message. Thank God Ability says, their second missionary journey won't bring any development to the state. They will be acting based on instructions from Oga to destabilize the governor's term. They are like a wounded lion coming back to retaliate, and not here to help the government. Thank God Ability said that one. Ida says, whatever Martins and his friends are doing, our governor is unshakable. Any attempt to cause unrest in the state will still stand by His Excellency. Michael says, I think this is the time for the governor. I think this is the time the governor needs the support of genuine people of the state, because it's their welfare and destinies that has been threatened. He has fought a good fight and exposed extremely selfish and greedy people in government, but have shown that they are haters and enemies of the people. And Michael in Eneka. You can call us up on 0817-923-0007. That's the number to call. Sir Ken says, this set of politicians are always in a hurry to impeach, defect, and give ultimatum to present budgets. Let them come together, work out timelines to implement the Supreme Court judgment. Sir Ken sent in that one. Godday Teme says, 2025 appropriation bill cannot be presented to the House of Assembly within 48 hours. They should understand that and see reasons. They should give the government time. This one says, the budget, this is from, what's your name, yeah? You did not include your name. Okay, Kento. Former legislators cannot work with the governor as at today because their intentions are not the same with that of the governor. Finally, your guest should tell Rivers people, taking us back to the days where their brothers and supporters will remain as workers without promotion for 8 years. Is that what Rivers people want? That's a question from that message. This one says, good morning. The Supreme Court said Amaewhule and racist lawmakers should resume sitting immediately. Does this tell us that whatever they were doing before the judgment is not recognized by even the Supreme Court? Lekwe from Bori sent that one in. Clever Sonny says, I'm very disappointed in the Rivers Line lawmakers for not standing to protect their brother, the governor. This cannot happen in Ogoniland. You say you're disappointed by the Riverine lawmakers who are not supporting their governor. Martin Amaewhule and co, whose salaries and allowances have not been paid for about 2 years now, are they not Rivers people? Gift Walu is asking that question. Ogo Ojene Justice says, anyone thinking that Fubara will be impeached is daydreaming. Ogo Ojene Justice. We don't have a lot of time, and we're having issues with our phone lines, so we can't get the calls coming in as fast as we should. We'll see if we can take one or two. Isaiah from Buguma, quickly. Good morning.
Andrew.
Please, just go straight to the point. Yes.
Let me greet my guest now. The order is much.
Yes, because we don't have time. So leave the pleasantries straight to the point.
I want to say that I completely agree with the legal illuminary on this very matter. He has said it. You cannot push the executive. The law is clear. What the law stated, that the executive is far above when it comes to this matter. The governor is the one, at his own timing, will prepare his budget and now put them in notion and pass that budget before them. You can't push the governor just the manner and giving him a marching order. Giving the executive is above. Look at the three arm of government.
All right, Isaiah, your point has been made. Thank you. Nelson from Bori, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Quickly, Nelson.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to talk to our governor. He should remain strong and nobody can impeach him. What we see with him, God strengthening River State. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nelson. We have to apologize. Unfortunately, the phone lines didn't come up as much as quickly as we hoped. Perhaps some issues with the service providers, hence the reason why we couldn't take much of the calls that we should. And we're already out of time. Gift is calling from Yenegua, but we don't have enough time to accommodate the call from Gift. So Gift, please, you'd have to bear with us. Choko, you wanted to respond. I'll give you 1 minute to do that.
Choko has spoken so much on this matter. You would have allowed me to also further inform Rivers people.
No,
he's talking about law. He's talking about law. He's talking about a lawyer.
He's the lawyer, so he would interpret what you said.
No, he never even attended.
Responding to you.
No, as a lawyer, I'm coming as a lawyer, and if he was interested in Rivers, the affair of Rivers people, he would have come to Supreme Court to hear this matter very well. He didn't understand that there was a cross appeal they made concerning this defection issue, and the Supreme Court that same day threw out this matter for lack of merit. The cross appeal did not hold. The Supreme Court did not hold that. The Supreme Court said, "Look, this thing cannot stand here in this court because the Okojombo-led assembly, it was an illegal assembly that has been in existence." And these people are talking about pushing the governor. Pushing the governor. Nobody's pushing the governor. What we are saying, the governor should do the right thing. And even the governor has threatened. I also overheard him saying that there will be a reaction and this and that from labor people and all that. And then that the Supreme Court is also watching which of the party want to instigate violence in the state. You remember the segment the governor made yesterday. The governor said that he's prepared to lead a violence.
No, he didn't say he would lead a
violence.
violence.
He said, let me tell you what you are a politician. Let me tell you what he said. He said, even though he does not subscribe to violence, but that at a point, that a time will come when he will lead to take decision. And taking that decision, he attached it to that same violence. Now, you see some people are also talking, nobody can impeach. I'm talking about impeachment. We have not come to the issue of impeachment. When the time comes for impeachment, we know. By the time if Assembly finds out that the governor has not followed up the things to be done for Rivers people, and if there are issues for impeachment arises,
we would have loved to, but
somebody can stop that as well.
We can take. Mr. Amaewhule, thank you very much. If you had been here earlier, perhaps we would have had more time.
The court cannot even stop impeachment. Talk less of all these roadside people that are
thank you very much,
here.
Mr. Choko, for joining us this morning on the show. Mr. Amaewhule, thank you as well for making our time to join us. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Hello Port Harcourt comes up shortly. Jude is already standing by. That follows immediately after the news at 9. Good morning.